Hello, Lisa, and welcome to Gismondi on Wine. We're excited to talk to you today. Italy's having a great moment with white wine, and so it's going to be fun to explore the Anselmi story today.
Okay, ciao Anthony. I hope everything is okay.
Yeah, I
So
think,
thank you so much for the opportunity to speak with you about Anselmi Winery. As you know, we are a very historic winery in northeast of Italy, but
yeah,
really the Anselmi can be described with three different slogans that can be historic winery, of course, avant-garde viticulture, and I hope great unconventional white wines.
that sounds great. I want to start just briefly historically because I know that your grandfather, he started the project, but he wasn't making the wines you're making. Tell us a little bit about what was going on back then.
But my grandfather is founded the cellar, the winery, the brand Anselmi in 1948, but with a completely different view of the business if you compare with today. My
Yeah.
grandfather was just a big négociant, had not vineyards. The production was around 15 million bottles a year, and 99% was domestic market. So quality was medium. There was not a project in quality wine and in quality viticulture. The first revolution for Anselmi was when my father finished to study and decided to work in the family business.
Of course, we're talking about Roberto.
Yes, fortunately understood that was the moment to change completely everything. The first step was to buy vineyards and start to produce wine made with our property grapes.
Can you tell us why your father thought like that, or how did he come upon that and not just go into the négociant side, but rather get more interested in the land?
Because at the end of his study, he probably stay around the world for 6 months to visit the most important region for the production of wine, and fortunately realized that probably was the moment to change the business of the cellar if the focus was and is to have a new generation and develop the brand Anselmi.
Yeah. He made some important decisions. I mean, we could mention that you're in the Soave region, which at the time was one of the classically well-known regions around the world, like Chianti Classico, Soave, Brunello, whatever. But he chose to do something quite different. Take us through that story.
But is the second revolution probably, but in 2000 we decided to left the Soave appellation, the DOC appellation, to start probably a new era for Anselmi, one era in which we can give to the wines the name of our vineyards, in which we can project innovative wine making and wine growing techniques, and in which the quality of the wine give to the Anselmi brand probably more value than the appellation.
Wow.
So was completely a second revolution.
Did he get invited to any of the neighbors' houses after that, or what did people think about it in the region?
Most of the people thought that my father was a little bit crazy, but probably is true. No, the was not a easy decision, but unfortunately, as you know, in our territory, we have a lot of cooperative that control 90% of the production. So when the cooperative, for political reason, maintain the control of 90% of the wines, is not so easy to give to the appellation value and markup. There are a lot of good producers in Soave, all are our friends. But unfortunately, if you put together, are probably 15% of the total production. So is the problem in Soave is the viticulture, absolutely, because we have more than 5,000 hectares and 80% is made by double pergola system that is for quantity, not for quality. So when arrived the DOCG appellation, and my father with other producer hoped that probably was the moment to change a part of the viticulture step by step, and nothing happened because finally with the DOCG appellation, nothing changed. We completely lost the idea that really the appellation of Soave can give us something more in the value of the brand.
So today for you, like you're on the road selling the wine. So you're still selling a wine from Soave, but basically you're selling what Anselmi is doing at a higher level. Is that the way people should look at it?
Yes. When fortunately Anselmi is lucky because, of course, we are in the market since many years, probably since the beginning of 80 years. So the people know our wines and finally choose to buy Anselmi, So it's completely different view. For a new producer that start a new brand in Soave could be difficult without the appellation. But fortunately for us, the changement was very, 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 very easy.
Okay, maybe you could explain then. We're going to get to the wines, but let's just talk a bit about the Soave wine, about the grapes that are available, about the kind of soil you work with, some of the basic things that people need to know about. They need to know now about your wine, where it's from, because if you're not saying Soave, they need some details.
But it really is, we are located exactly east of Verona. So on west, as you know, you can find the Valpolicella and Amarone area. On east of Verona, we have the production of white grapes, white wines. There are a lot of really nice hills from 200 meters above sea level to 350 meters. Two most important type of soil of terroir is volcanic in some area and limestone in some other. Sometimes it's a mix, a blend of the two terroir, but in other case, like the cru is just volcanic or just limestone. We are very, very lucky because the mix between terroir and climate is very good for the viticulture, for the grapes.
And did your father change any grapes or just the way he grew them?
We changed some grapes and we have also a new project, Anthony. I don't know if you know, but of course we have the Garganega, that is the indigenous variety of the area. In the last 15 years, we plant some aromatic variety like Sauvignon Blanc or like Gold Traminer, for example. But in the last 5 years, we start a real new project for us that is very important, and we are very proud of this because we start to plant some peewee grapes, some hybrid diseases resistant grape variety that permit us to work without chemicals product in the vineyards. So we are very oriented now in this greener and sustainable viticulture.
Yeah, it's interesting because peewee sort of started out as a greener, as a variety that wouldn't needed to be sprayed. But now with climate change, we're also seeing that some of these varieties work better under the changing conditions as well. Absolutely.
We go in production with a small part of peewee because we blend with the traditional grape with the 2023 vintage. So it's really new project. We have not feedback about it, but for the moment, the result and the complexity that peewee give to our wines is really, really good.
We'll keep an eye out for that then if they reach Canada at some point.
We, of course, as you can imagine, we choose some clones that is very in balance with the identity of our wines. In particular, we have 3 different clones. Is a Sauvignon Gris, that is the resistant of Sauvignon Blanc, one Riesling resistant, and one Moscato that we blend in our flagship wine.
Okay, that's exciting. Well, I want to talk a bit about the wines today, and I'm going to taste along with you. We're going to start with the San Vincenzo wine, probably the widest selling wine in Canada. So tell us the story of the Anselmi San Vincenzo.
San Vincenzo is our flagship wine, is really the core business for us. If you think that the total production is around 750,000 bottles, and for San Vincenzo is 450,000, you can imagine that for us is really important. It's a blend of all the grapes that we have in our vineyards. So traditional one like Garganega and Incrocio Manzoni, international like Chardonnay and Sauvignon Blanc, and with the vintage that you have in the glass now, 30% is made also with the three peewee grapes.
Oh, wow.
So wine very fresh, very fruity, with a good balance between freshness, acidity. Is wine that you can have for aperitif moment with your friends everywhere, because it's really, really charming to drink. Is really drinkable also now, so perfect with a lot of different recipe of Italian food. I drink San Vincenzo also with pizza, margherita pizza, very good, and San Vincenzo match very well. Yes.
Yeah, it has great freshness, like the acidity in it works really well with those kind of foods. So that would be a great match. And I assume that because there's so much of it, it comes from all the soils, and it would be on limestone and volcanic. It would be a mix of all that.
Yes, because we pick up the grapes from all the property, so we can move in some hills that is volcanic, other is limestone. Is really the wine that probably is not easy to describe San Vincenzo, because is not Soave, of course, because it's a blend of different grape varieties, but has a very, very specific identity. For me, it's very easy to recognize it, but probably because I am the producer, so.
Well, I'd say it's an Anselmi wine. That's what it is.
Exactly.
Yeah. Widely available. We'll get some of that info out. I think it's around $18 to $20 across Canada and the different markets, and well suited. I mean, we have a lot of seafood on the West Coast, so it's a wine that's suited to our climate and our food style, which is great. Now the Capital Croce. Tell us a bit about this wine. We have the 21 here that we're going to have a look at.
Yes, Capital Croce is one of our single vineyard. So the grapes for vintage 2021 is Garganega, 100%. Is probably the most representative wine if you think about our territory, our region. One hill that we call Zoppega Hill, 200 meters above sea level, more or less. We have 15 hectares in these vineyards, completely limestone soil, and oak barrels vinification. So if you compare with San Vincenzo, it's really more texture, more body, completely a different expression of the same area. More elegant, is wine that can age very well. We have some bottles in the cellar, 20, 25 years old, and every time is a big surprise for us when we open one.
Yeah, it's interesting. You said both the words. It's hard to make an elegant wine that has more weight in it. Like, it's probably almost twice the weight of the San Vincenzo, but it's still a very elegant wine on the palate. So
San Vincenzo is more drinkable, born to be sold by the glass. Now this is the focus. For Capital Croce, you have more gastronomic wine. The idea is completely different, but it's good to give the opportunity to the customer to have different wine from the same producer with very specific identity, because are completely different one and the other. But in my opinion, there is a sort of fil rouge between the different wine for the technique in the vineyards, and of course also during the winemaking.
And if we were in Verona tonight with this wine, what would you be ordering? What would you serve with that?
But in this period of the year, I absolutely choose for mushroom risotto, probably with porcini risotto. It can be very good, yes. But match very well with white meat, for example, with some piece of medium-aged cheese is really good. Depends the time of the year, because also with the fish is really good, really, really good.
Well, we have another specialty. Actually, it's in a small bottle, the I Capitelli, a little darker color. What can you tell us about this wine? I don't think it's dry.
No, absolutely. Which vintage you have, Anthony, now?
It's the 2020.
2020. Okay, so the Capitelli is really for Anselmi is cherry on top.
Yeah.
Because it's very small production, but it's the wine that permit us to be present in a lot of high-level wine list all around the world. It's our Passito. Is made with the Garganega grape for 99%. There is just a touch of Goldtraminer to give a little bit more aroma and acidity. Is the selection of the best grapes in all the property. Of course, we pick up the grapes and we dry the grapes in a very high-tech room that we have in the cellar, where we control temperature, humidity, circulation of the air. Is the same technique of the Amarone, more or less. But we dry the grapes at lower temperature, so we are able to maintain more freshness and maintain good level of acidity. And finally is, for me, a perfect balance between sweetness and freshness. Absolutely.
So you dry the grapes, I don't know, do you get like 30% or 40% of the water out? Is that in the end?
We lose also 15%. Is the most hard work during harvest time.
Yeah.
But okay, it's necessary to do, because the result for us is, as I told you, is our cherry on top. So we don't produce the wine every vintage, because the grapes can be very perfect. Yeah. But really we are very proud of this wine, absolutely.
It's a wonderful wine. You know, people who are dessert wine aficionados will get this wine right away. It's not Sauterne, it's not ice wine. It's exactly, you know, what it should be from the Veneto region. It's just a delicious wine. The texture is so silky.
Thank you so much.
It's such a joy to sip this wine. I don't know that I need any dessert with it. I could just have it on its own. But what would you do with it? What would you serve with it?
But in my personal opinion, the best pairing is with a very, very good blue cheese. But
wow.
I love cheese, so
yeah.
But really can be good with a different type of desserts. Very, very good also with pumpkin ravioli. That is an Italian recipe, of course. Everything is sweet, match very well. One time, I don't remember where in the United States, I had the I Capitelli with lobster, just simple cook or boiled, salt and oil, and was fantastic. And one time in Rome, in a very good restaurant, Star Michelin restaurant, they served the Capitelli with carbonara.
Oh, wow.
Special carbonara, but the crispy of the guanciale and eggs and just a little bit of Capitelli, for me, was a surprise.
Yeah, that sounds fantastic. I'm getting hungry now. Well, I want to talk a little bit about visiting, because it's interesting that the way that your father has taken the wine, talking about the variety and the place, it's a lot like what's done in North America. And in North America, we love to visit wineries. Is it the same? Can we have the same experience when we come to Italy and visit Anselmi? How does that work? What do you have for people that want to enjoy some hospitality?
We receive guests in all the time of the year. My suggestion is to choose springtime or autumn during harvest. And really is a pleasure for us to give to the customers and to the wine lovers the possibility to visit us, to see the cellar, to have a tasting together, to visit the vineyards when the time of the year is good, and then why not lunch or dinner together, of course.
Lisa, so great to catch up with you today and to talk about the Anselmi wines and a little bit about the Soave region. We hope to see you perhaps in Canada soon, or maybe we'll meet with you over in Italy.
Why not? Of course, Anthony.
Thanks for joining us.
Thank you so much. Thank you a lot.
Real
Bye.
pleasure. Bye now.
Ciao.